Hi everyone, my name is Cassie and welcome to my channel, The Bookish 4 Eyes. I'm back again with my February 2018 TBR. I'm only gonna try to pinpoint 4 specific books that I'm really looking forward to reading next month. And the rest of them I'm just gonna probably take from the library or just whenever the mood strikes to just read a random book, I'll probably do that. But here are the 4 books that I really want to get around to, that I've had sitting on my shelves for a little bit, and it sounds pretty interesting, so I'm looking forward to picking them up. I'm sorry about the weird lighting today. It's a very sunny day and you'd think sun would make it better for filming videos, but apparently it just does this weird thing where it like shines in my face and makes everything look really weird. So just bear with me. The first book is called, well, this is a art copy. I borrowed it from a friend. The book is actually called He Said, She Said by Erin Kelly. I haven't heard anyone talking about this book. I don't know if it's any good, but I'm willing to give it a try. The description of it is very vague. It's about, I guess, at the time when the first event takes place, there's a couple and they're just dating, and there's a total solar eclipse. And as the solar eclipse comes to an end, I guess when the light starts coming up, the woman sees something and she thinks that she should report it, and she reports it, and apparently it's not what it looks like, or I don't know, something like that. But keeping that in mind, then it jumps to 15 years later and they're still living in fear, and for some reason, don't really know why, but they're living in fear and we don't really know what happened and whether she should have said something or whether she shouldn't have said anything. That's pretty much it. This book itself doesn't have any synopsis on it, which is kind of odd. The Goodreads page also didn't have a very good synopsis either. So I'm going into this book pretty much blind, but I kind of like that because I think when I know too much, I tend to overthink things and I start building my personal opinion about the book before I even get around to reading it. So I feel like it's probably better that I just go into it without really expecting much, without knowing how it's going to go and what's going to happen, and then just hope for the best. If you've read this book, He Said, She Said, please let me know. It got pretty decent reviews and ratings on Goodreads, so I guess that's a good sign, but if you've read it personally, please let me know. The next book that I'm looking to read is going to be a good one, I think. It's Half of a Yellow Sun. I've read her other book called Americana. I really enjoyed that book. I also read her short little essay called We Should All Be Feminists. I really enjoyed that one too. I think her writing is just absolutely gorgeous. It's great to get into. Her characters are very well developed, and you can't help but care for all of them, even if they're bad, even if they're good. Just all of the characters are amazing, and you really get to know people, which is, I think, pretty important. This book takes place in Nigeria in the 1960s during a turmoilous time, and that's pretty much what I've gathered from it. There's 3 different characters who have to live their life through those tough times, and they're all very different from one another. Once again, I don't want to dig too deep to know too much. It's better if I just pick it up and get into it and just see where it takes me. I've heard great things about this book. I think it has great ratings everywhere. I'm not surprised because if this book is anything like her other books, I will definitely enjoy it. It will be a very enjoyable read. So I'm really looking forward to it. Once again, I'm trying to read more Own Voices books, and this is definitely a perfect book for that. The next book is a bit similar to the first book, He Said, She Said, in terms of there not being much synopsis to work with. And this is The Wife Between Us. I don't know what to expect when it comes to this book. It has good and bad reviews. I've seen some of my friends saying that they didn't really enjoy this book, that it was predictable and just wasn't as good as they had hoped. From the title itself, I'm skeptical about how good it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be that good. I have very low expectations, but that's just the cynic in me talking, so never mind that. If you read this book, please let me know what you thought about it. I'm very curious. I need more feedback about this book. The synopsis is very vague. Here, I can read it for you. It says, when you read this book, you will make many assumptions. Okay. You will assume you're reading a book about a jealous ex-wife. You will assume she's obsessed with her replacement, a beautiful, younger woman who's about to marry the man they both love. You will assume you know the anatomy of this tangled love triangle. Assume nothing. So it literally doesn't give you anything to work with. It just like gives you things they think you might think will happen, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I'm guessing just an ex-wife and like a wife-to-be have a little beef with each other or something is what I'm assuming this will be, but you never know, and I'm really excited to see where the story goes and what the storyline actually is. This next book, I'm not super excited to read, but I feel like I should just because of the author and the hype that his other book got. This is Artemis by Andy Weir. I read The Martian, his first book, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. I thought it had way too much science in it, and I couldn't help but feel like I was reading a textbook because he was describing all the little things that his main character did in such great detail, which was too much for me. So I hope this book is different than his first book. Basically, the setting of this book takes place on the moon, and there's one single colony there so far. It's called Artemis, and it's mostly for rich people, like billionaires, just people going there as tourists. The main character's name is Jasmine, and she lives in like a tiny little apartment on the moon, and she doesn't really make a lot of money. She does whatever she can to scrape by. So that's pretty much the setting. So the moon, and she's really struggling and she owes a lot of debt, and there's an opportunity that comes up for her to really turn things around, but it requires for her to do something that kind of goes beyond the little petty crimes and things that she's committed in the past. So she really has to go out of her way and just do something that she hasn't done before, and it involves a lot more than she expected, so there's a lot more danger involved with it, and it really kind of goes almost to the core of that whole community that has been created on the moon. I haven't heard much about this book, so if you've read it, please let me know what you thought. I heard from a friend that she thought he didn't do a very good job with his female character, like some of the stuff she said didn't seem believable. This is not an Owen Voices book, because he is a male writer and his main character is a female. But I hope it's more of like an action-packed read rather than a very nitty-gritty, science-y book. But we'll see. So that's it for my February 2018 TBR. I'm also probably going to read a couple more books along with these, but these are just the ones that I'm really looking forward to reading, and I should finally get around to them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.